What's up, folks? I'm like, God, wasn't I just here doing this? Those days went by quick. Hi, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend. We're still going to be in our second week of doing two advice shows a week. We have so many letters, it's just not even funny. I don't know. I think a lot of them are going to get tossed out because they're, crazy. But even still, we have 25 letters today. I already see on the cover page. There's 25. And then we'll have so many more on Friday. Yes, well, I'm well. I hope everyone else is too. We found out today Alameda County is going to orange tier. So a lot of stuff is going to open back up, at half capacity and everything. But, gyms can be open again and restaurants and bars and things like that. So, it's some pretty exciting times. We'll be able to go places that we haven't been able to go in over a year. So everybody's pretty excited. But enough of all of that. Welcome to What the Fuck Tuesday. If you're new here, this show handles advice questions that have been previously submitted. If you want to get your letter submitted, look in the show description below, click the link, and fill out the form. So we don't do live questions on this show. Not today. These are already, questions that have already come in. But I have been very good about not looking at them. My cousin handles all of this for me, and she sends it with this handy dandy cover page, so I don't get to see them early. Yes, thank you. Yeah, the 25, that happened on March 13th. I'll never forget that day. March 13th, I woke up and we had 25,000, and I was like, yay! It took forever, but um, it finally did happen. So let us get started since we have so many letters to do. If you wrote in a letter, be sure to listen to what I have to say, but also take a look at what's written in the chat because they have different perspectives. I mean, you may or may not agree with either of us, but also sometimes they live in the geographic region that the letter is from. And so if there's some kind of fine details or recommendations that you need that are specific to that area, they can provide them for you, way better than I can because I'm way over here in California. So let's get started. Female, question number one of 25, for those of you who keep track. This is a young lady in the 30 to 39 age group from Dallas, Texas. She says, I'm new and here for some opinions and advice. I'm 33 and a bit of backstory. I went on a working holiday from the UK to Canada when I was 30, and shortly after I arrived, I went to some meetup groups in order to force myself to make friends. I ended up meeting a small group of 5 people, and we spent a lot of time together. We were all in our late 20s to early 30s. One of them became my boyfriend, who even joked at the time. We all told each other our ages. Oh, I'm 50. To which everyone replied, oh, haha, really? And we replied, no, I'm 35. No one thought otherwise. In all honesty, he looked fairly young. So our 5-year age gap at the time was no big deal to me. I began to notice on odd occasions where he wouldn't let me see his ID. Hmm. We got IDs a lot at bars, but didn't think anything of it apart from maybe he thinks the fact that he's 5 years older might be a big deal. I wasn't sure to doubt it. I just trusted what he said. Occasionally, though, I would notice little things like he'd tell me dates of things in his life, and in my mind, they wouldn't add up. And things he'd say happened a few years ago didn't quite make sense to the timeline that he'd given me. I also thought it was a bit weird. He had anti aging skin moisturizer in his bathroom. I mean, do 35-year-olds really need it? I think I just excused it in my mind. I also never met any of his friends. I didn't think of anything of it at the time, but did notice they all had kids who were around 5 to 12 years old. He never had any photos in his apartment, but he did show me a few on his phone. So last week, after almost 3 years of dating, I noticed he left his wallet on the kitchen table. So while he was in the bathroom, I decided to look at his driver's license. I was stunned. It said the year of birth was 1975, not 1983 as he'd always told me, which meant a 13-year age gap instead of just 5. I didn't know what to do apart from put the wallet back and pretend it never happened. I've been struggling to sleep properly and I feel betrayed. Ever I've told friends and even my mom, who thinks he didn't have bad intentions, that he just wanted to fit in. But the fact that he lied and tried to hide it is still worrying me. Thanks, Ken. and tried to hide it, still worrying, and it isn't keen on the big age gap. Now I'm in a situation where I need to tell him that I know, but it's difficult to make myself do it. My friends wonder what else he's lied about, exactly where I'm going. He told me he was with his previous partner for 9 years and engaged, and now I wonder if he was in fact married and he's divorced. Also, he has said things to me like if I ever accidentally got pregnant, it would be a blessing, and insinuated that he'd love to have a kid and a family and for us to get a house together. Now I see it's because time isn't particularly on his side since he's almost 50, whereas I feel like I have a lot of time to still do and see things without that pressure. I don't know what to do. This is so hard. I do love him, but now that I know the truth, despite age being just a number, I feel less respected and less respecting of him. I don't know how to handle this. We had lots of plans to travel later in the year, yet I know his secret now and I feel things have changed. We get on so well together, though, as a couple. Even if this is repairable, I feel the 13-year age difference is still an issue. Yes, it is, because he's on the downstroke to 50. So what he was, he's 40. What did you say? You thought he was 35, but he's really 40, whatever you said. I don't know. The letter was so fucking long. Uh, when was he born? 1973? Isn't that what you said? Somebody do the math. Okay, he's that 45 or 46. And she's still, in her early 30s. So I'm gonna say this, unless you want to be one of them mothers that I talked about on the show the other day, that has some old daddy and he's making old looking babies that look crunchy and wrinkled, and then he's too old to do stuff with the kids because he's gonna want to rest and sit down and all of that kind of stuff. Then you have a decision to make because he deceived you. He manipulated and coerced you into a relationship that if you had known the truth, you would not have entered. So I can understand you being very angry. I can understand you being very resentful, distrusting, and losing respect for him. So you're going to have to just tell him, you tricked me. I don't appreciate it. I'm done here, you old buzzard. And then leave him. Then leave him alone because he's taken 3 years of your life under false pretenses. That's essentially what happened. You know, I don't know. I'd be done with him and I'd want to find somebody who was closer to my age, like maybe their late 30s, since you're in your early 30s. This is just too much. These dudes are just ridiculous to think that they could get away with this. What's he going to do? Just lie up until he has to sign a birth certificate or something? This is crazy. Yeah, he's an old buzzard. You know what I mean? He's almost 50 and lying to this girl 13 years age difference. She don't want you. That's terrible. That's really awful. So anyway, that's what I suggest that you do. Tell him about himself and then fire him. Let's move on to question number 2. This is a female, 25 to 29 from Montreal, Canada. I'll give a bit of backstory. Oh my God. Are these letters all okay? This one's not too bad. My future in laws have known about me for a while. They are aware of everything about me and family and would always ask my partner how I am and show that they cared. But after I met them for the first time, we had a relatively pleasant dinner, which I thought went well. But after this, his parents stopped asking about me and pretended like I never existed for about 3 months. Then they asked me to come over to talk. His mother proceeded to ask me all sorts of personal questions, which I did find quite inappropriate. My partner's dad sat in silence the whole meal, and I could sense a totally different vibe, like they didn't really want me to be there. Mm. Since then, they've spoken to my partner about the fact that they think he's making a mistake because they don't like me because I don't have a good enough job for them. My parents are divorced, and then I have a little weight on me. We are Asian Indian, so this is a big topic for them. I'm extremely upset because they didn't spend any time getting to know me. They've insulted me and my family and not considered me as a person and how much I love their son. I made tons of effort to get to know them and ask them questions, but they told my other half I had made no effort at all. I am just seeking some advice on how to behave with them from now on, really. I don't think they'll even talk about me for months, which is fine with me, as me and my partner have discussed and prepared for this to carry on with our lives. But when I do have to see them again, how should I behave? I don't feel like I can be myself as they judge me the whole time I was before. I guess she means there before. Help, please. This is a job for your super clown that you would call yourself being engaged to or dating or whatever he is. That's his job. He is supposed to bring you, sit his parents down. And I know in the culture, the parents are revered and all this old shit right here. But you know what? The respect has to go two ways. For them to call you over there behind his back and then treat you like that was some shady shit. Okay, now what he's supposed to have done once he found out about that was digging his parents' ass and tell him you will not be doing that. You will not interfere with what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm a grown man. You don't pick a woman for me, and you don't have anything to say about who I choose to love. It's not your concern. I didn't worry about what you do, so you're not going to worry about me. And see, that's what he would need to do to set them straight and tell them, what the lay of the land is. But by the fact that he's being silent, that's giving tacit permission that what they've done to you is okay. Now, if I were you, what would I do? I'd be giving him the side eye for real, and then I'd be breaking up because I would feel like he didn't have my back. He just leaving me out there to hang dry by myself. Well, to deal with his crazy, wacky ass parents. And I know that your culture is different from mine, but let me tell you how that's what it went. If Deb was dating an Indian dude and I went to his parents' house and they said, I don't think you have a good enough job for me. Shut up, bitch. Who asked you? What I do for my work, as long as my bills are paid and I'm not reaching in your pocket for shit, you don't have nothing to say, ho. There, how about that? Okay, then she's going to say, well, your parents are divorced. So she stays in a marriage but she's miserable with somebody just so she won't be divorced. Say your mother had better sense. Your mother has her self-esteem intact and knows that she could carry on without a husband. So she did it. And she's happier for it. Maybe you should try it. Because you act like such an evil-hearted old grumpy bitch sitting up here thinking that's all that you have to do is call some young girl over here and read her the riot act and treat her so disrespectfully. Maybe you need to get a divorce. You might find that you're happier when you get some different dick. And then, that you have a little weight on you. Okay, so what is the point of that? But they want you to walk in there looking like a model? Then they would probably say you was too skinny and he needs to feed you better. They insulted you, and honestly, my thing is if when you insult me, the kid gloves come off. I no longer treat you with respect, and I'm gonna get gully and I'm gonna rip you a new ass. That's how I am. So I would have left there with them just crying in tears and a gas in their mouth hanging open. Like, how can our son think that this was a woman that he want to marry? I don't give a fuck because I'm not trying to marry your raggedy ass son because he's related to you. He might have some of your fucked up genes. I don't even be trying to have a kid that acts stupid and you didn't have to bring him over here and you be the grandparents. I would kill your bitch ass if you did something to my kid trying to be mad at me. I just want you to understand. So don't worry about me. I'm leaving out here right now and I will never be back. So you don't have to worry. Oh, they gonna always, even no matter what she does, she's gonna always be criticizing her. That's why she has to stop, being so nice to them. She has to fire back, whether she decides to stay with this dude or not. She needs to light them up real good. That's what needs to happen. Now, I know you just for the way you wrote this that you're a very polite and genteel type of young lady. This is probably such a foreign concept to you, but I'm telling you, you dealing with an old bitch. Okay, so you can't be treating her all genteel and nice. You got to light her bitch ass up. Shit. Oh, ooh, if I could have just jumped into your body for 5 minutes, I would have wore that bitch out. And talked about that daddy too. Why you just sitting there letting your wife do stupid stuff? What kind of man are you? I thought you were supposed to be the man of the house. You sitting there looking like the bitch of the house. Oh my God. Yeah, she need to act a complete fool with all three of them. Question number 3, male, 25 to 29, out of Boston. So I've been with this girl, let's call her Jane, since October. I got with her shortly after getting my heart broken from my ex. Jane was always a great friend to me and someone I could confide in. Jane had always had tension between us and flirted even when I was with my ex. Oh, you trifling. We exchanged words and looks, but it never went further until I ended things with my ex. I ended up moving across the country to find myself and be my own man, live on my own, figure life out. Jane and I did long distance, and she visited me a few times, and I her. Things are amazing between us. She fills up my needs in all categories. She understands my quirks and is all around a great gal. So I don't understand why I want to talk to other females. She gives me everything, so I don't get it. In 2 months, we plan to have her move in with me. I feel like I'm making a life commitment to her, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. I'm 25 and I've hopped from relationship to relationship, not really giving myself time to date. Am I wrong to feel this way? Am I dumb giving up on something that's great just because I want to play the field? Yes, you are. You're very stupid. This kind of thing here, you already at the age of 25 have been blessed to find a woman who's perfect for you. Do you know how many people go through their life trying to find that and still haven't found it into their 40s and 50s and still miserable and still on dating sites and apps and stuff trying to find that person? You found her. Okay, now this is what you should be doing at 25. You're in your building phase, right? Of life. Instead of flip flopping around and trying to find yourself and ho hopping, you should be using that energy to stabilize yourself financially, invest your money, start saving for retirement, buying a home, and that kind of stuff. That's what you should be doing. Instead, you just a typical little young fool. You're going to be worried about some pussy instead of establishing yourself as a man. See, this is when you know that you had poor parenting. You had poor parenting. And I don't care if you get upset and talk about, don't be talking about my parents. I'm going to talk about them because at the age of 25, you should have all that shit should be behind you. When you see men who are still in this mode, they end up just being stupid. A whole bunch of miscellaneous stray babies everywhere. Because once you get a woman pregnant, it's out of your hands. You don't get to decide if you're going to be a daddy, is she going to carry the term or not. That's not your decision. It's hers. So you could be you have 2 or 3 kids while you busy hopping around and playing the field. They're going to tap into your wallet, all the money that you could be using for saving and investing and building and buying property and all this kind of stuff will be going to pay child support for some kids by some raggedy bitches that you didn't even want. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? You're making a stupid decision. Now, I'm not saying you got to marry the girl or anything, but you did invite her to move in with you. Give it a chance. See how it goes. I have a feeling that you're scared of success. Typical. Somebody with low self-esteem, you found success and happiness, and you're afraid of it, so you want to fuck it up. A lot of people sabotage themselves like that. It's definitely a sign of poor self-esteem and confidence. He's not a player. He wants to be one. You know, he wants to be one, and he's not a rebound because he already was dealing with this woman and liking her when he was still dating the other person who is now his ex. This is not a rebound. Okay, this is somebody he probably should have dated her in the first place instead of the woman he was dating. So, you know, yeah. So anyway, to answer your question, yes, you're being very stupid. You need to sit down and think about what you want to do. Map out how you want your life to go and realize that two horses can pull a wagon a lot faster than one by itself. And think about what kind of woman that would be by your side pulling your wagon with you. Okay? You're just being stupid. Man, if you were my son, I'd be kicking your ass right about now. But if you were my son, you wouldn't be even having these thoughts and you would already be on the path to doing something great. Question number 4, female 30 to 35 from Portland. I've been with my boyfriend for 10 years, and she put that in caps and bold. And we've lived together for 5. I have been patient with him not having a job and unable to contribute to the household, but I have now gotten to the point where I'm sick of it, and in turn, I'm sick of him. I've tried breaking up with him several times and asked that he move out as it's my place that we're staying in. He just tells me he has nowhere to go and to give him time to make a plan. His mom stays in an old age home and he doesn't get along with any of his other family members. So usually post breakup, he would just stay in my house until the point where I gave in somehow. We end up back together. Ooh, you weak. I have recently started working from home due to COVID and decided to unskill myself by going back to school. And even with that, he doesn't step up and help out in the house. I come back from classes at 9 and he will have not made anything for us or at least himself to eat. Sometimes during the day while I work, he plays PlayStation games. He will ask me what we are going to have for lunch. I am so tired of mothering him and I have emotionally left the relationship, but I don't know how to draw clear boundaries. I'm honestly at my wit's end. Please help me. How do I get out of this mess? You give him an eviction notice. Okay, he's staying at your place. You give him an eviction notice and go through the courts, do everything that you have to do to get him to fuck up out your house. Now he doesn't get along with those people, but that's not your problem, right? And all this time, where he knows that you want him out, he should be getting some work so that he can save up to buy himself a place. But he's not doing that either, because he knows he's got you wrapped around his finger, and he just has to sit around there long enough and you'll give in again. But you're going to go down to the courthouse, or go on. I don't know how they have it set up where'd you say you were? Portland. And fill out the paperwork to file an unlawful detainer. That's what it's called here. That's going to be an eviction notice, because he's not paying no bills. He's not contributing. He's just being a leech. So you want him out. And then at the end of that time, when the day comes, you can get the sheriff. It's going to cost you some money. They will come and they will forcibly remove him from the premises. You can hold your hand out and get your key, but I suggest you change the locks. Don't just get the key back, change the locks. And then you'll be done. Don't even let him come back to visit. Nothing. Block his number on your phone and be done. Okay? This guy he's used you for all his time. How he not gonna be working and just eating, living off of you? What are we having for lunch, like you his mommy? Woo, you girls, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand. And you started messing with him when you were only 20, and now you're 30. Let's move on to question number 5. This is a young lady in the 22 to 29 age group living in the UK. That's what it says, living in the UK. I really need help here. The problem seems not a big one, but I may affect our marriage, so hopefully you can give me some advice. I got married to my husband, who is British. We communicated using English, and to be fair, my English is not too bad, as I got a 7.5 out of 9 for the IELTS. What's that? International English Language something something. Some I don't know. I used to know, but anyway, yeah, it's like this international platform where you learn English and they have a test and all that. However, I have a tendency to drop the final sounds pronouncing words, the final SD, etc. Not all the time, but about one in every 20 words I speak. I think it mainly comes from the habit that my native language doesn't have final sounds. It's difficult for me to change in a short period of time. It's been my habit for a while. Unfortunately, my husband is really frustrated with my pronunciation, and we got many fights over it that I got frustrated at him as well, failing to understand why he could feel that way. I am a foreigner, and the fact that I can't speak standard English as well as he does should not impact our relationship. Yeah, that is bizarre. Many couples out there could not even communicate well, but they are still happy and love each other. Sometimes I wonder if my husband loves me enough so that he lets such facts affect his feelings towards me. I am trying to study English every day to improve, but that habit does not go away immediately. Sadly, as long as it's there, my husband keeps getting furious at me, which psychologically impacts me now, because I am sometimes hesitant to speak English. I'm afraid I could say or pronounce some words wrongly, which doesn't help my English improve. And I don't want to be in a situation where I feel like I'm a loser, not being able to pronounce the final sounds of English sometimes. I really need help here. Otherwise, my marriage is on the brink of breaking up. Thank you so much. I'm going to say this. If your marriage is on the brink of breaking up because you dropped some nouns or something at the end of a word, then it needs to be broken up. You don't understand how abusive this is, that you're what you're going through. Not only that, let me tell you about ebonics. Do we say the end of words? We don't even say the beginning. We say, like, okay, instead of for, like a British person might say, we say faux, right? Right? Don't we say faux? And we say, we mispronounce some kind of word, put S on the end of police, and say polices, which means there's more than one. Okay? So there's all kinds of ways, Then we here in the United States, we have different accents. There's a Southern drawl. There's the Bostonian accent. That's their New York accent. I don't think they say a lot of the ends of words either. There's a California accent. Like they can always tell you come from California because of the way we speak. And what other kind of accent is there? I don't know. I can't think. But then they then throw in there ebonics, like I said, and then you have a whole litany. And then let's talk about overseas. Australians, they speak English, and it's very interesting how they pronounce some words. And in New Zealand, They speak English, but it's different, right? Canadians, they have a slightly different accent. So I'm like, what is this man talking about? Everybody from every corner of the world speaks slightly differently, but everybody's speaking English. We all understand each other, so what's the problem? You know what I mean? I I'm really, I mean, I sympathize with you that you're trying to understand this, you're trying to make it make sense. But you could think about this and try to make this make sense for the rest of your life, and it's never going to happen because your husband is an idiot. So what you need to do is figure out, watch some of my videos, okay? And you will see when I curse people out, I don't pronounce all the ends of the words either because I'm not going to say motherfucker with that R on there. You're going to be a motherfucker with an A on the end. Ho, bitch, biatch, that kind of stuff. Okay, it's like those are the kind of words that you need to start learning. So then, when he gets crazy like that, then you can pull some of those out and say, "Look at what I learned today, bitch. Look, you hoe. This is what I learned. These are words I learned in English today. You trifling motherfucker." Okay, and you say it with Deb's accent. Get used to it. Practice that, and then as soon as he starts this shit again, then you pop out with that and watch his face crack. Oh yes, that is all that is needed. She need to get adopt some Deb accent and then pull that out on when he starts on this shit and just cuss his ass smooth out. Yeah, he knows all that, but he just trying to, just hound her just for no reason. But trust me, if it was not this, it would be something else. Cause he's just that type of dude. That's why she needs to start calling him a bitch. Shut up, bitch. You piece of shit, bitch. All that kind of stuff. Talk about his ass. You British bitch. Oh man, I don't know. I would just wear him out. That would just be you fish and chips eating hoe. I would just wear him out. He just, you tea and crumpets pussy, all kind of stuff. I'm just saying. I would just go to, if she, don't be like me. But then again, maybe you do need to be because your husband is an asshole. That's the bottom line there. Anyway, let's move on. I'm having way too much fun with this. Question number 6, female 30 to 39 from Surrey, England. Good evening. I just feel a bit desperate at the moment. I feel like I need some outside advice. So, me and my boyfriend of 1 year found out I was pregnant 2 weeks ago. I was excited, but he was not. And you in the 30 to 39 age group. He has drummed it into my head to have an abortion, and after lots of long, hard thought, I decided to go with his decision as we both never planned a baby. Please don't judge, she says. Plus, I'm 35 with a 16-year-old daughter, and he is 32 with two young kids from two different baby mamas. Ugh. Anyway, my termination is booked for Friday. Since we found out I was pregnant, he hadn't really acknowledged the pregnancy. I've got quite a bump already. He talks about things that relate to him and only him. He's not spent a weekend with me since we found out, and I'm just pretty lonely and let down. I told him that I didn't want him to be with me for my termination at home as I don't feel he cares or will be supportive. And the next day, he arranged that exact weekend from Friday on to be with his mates while I'll be going through that. He didn't even fight to be here. I was hoping he would just step up and tell me that he will be with me to go through it, but no, he made plans. I'm gutted. I don't know if our relationship is repairable because no matter what, I'll always resent him for treating me this way. Or is it easier to just move on without him and focus on my career, etc.? Any advice appreciated. Don't be stupid. Okay, you got a 16-year-old. Would you be running around with an infant by some miscellaneous stray idiot that you only been dating for a year? Where they do that at? I mean, I know there's a lot of silly young girls do that, but when they did that in their teens and 20s, not in their mid 30s with a 16-year-old daughter. Okay, that was very poor decision making that you would even think that you should be excited about some bullshit like this. And then number two, you think a man that's already got two baby mamas is going to be excited about having three? You really thought that? And he wanted you to get rid of it, right? And so you wanted him to be coming over. What you wanted, some kind of like Harlequin romance thing where y'all sit there and cry about it. And he rubs your baby and belly and apologizes to whatever's growing in there and just, acts all up and makes this big dramatic scene. Is that what you were looking for? That man ain't bothered. He didn't want that shit. And he told you he didn't want it. And so his life is going to continue on as it was, which is exactly right, which is exactly what you should be doing too. And it's all this emotion that you have and tied to this how he's behaving towards something that he didn't even want and you didn't plan anyway. I mean, I'm not understanding why this is so hard for you to understand. You having all this attachment to his behavior about something that's not going to be here past Friday. Why do you want him to show all this emotion? I'm sure he's having some feelings about it, though. I mean, it's not like the thing where you just not have any feelings. But whatever it is, they're not going to be the feelings that you want him to have. And he's not going to want to show them to you because it's pointless. Okay? Now, if you people at your age cannot be more responsible with your birth control, then you really don't need to be fucking. And it's good that you move on from this relationship. Got it? You're too old for this. That's what teenagers and little goofy girls in their 20s do. Not grown ass women with daughters on about to head off to college. This was really bad decision making and irresponsible of both of you. Question number 7. This is a male in a 50 to 55 age group from Milwaukee. 2 of my girlfriend's adult children live with us at home. She does not have them help with rent, bills, food, or help around the house in general. She even pays for their car insurance when they have jobs. I've asked her multiple times if they could chip in and help out, but it always ends up in a fight, and she tells me not to be concerned with how she spends her money. What now? Our relationship is going downhill. Oh, your relationship is shot. Okay, now whose house is this? Is this your house? Then you can kick him out. It must be her house. And so if she's using any of your money, like you filling in some holes there, and then she's using her money for them, whereas if you pulled out, would she have as much money to give them, or would she have to finally make them step up? That's something to consider because I'm sure you want to live with your lady and all this old kind of stuff right here. But right now, this makes no sense. And I would tell you that pack your things and get out. You can see that she's making a choice, and it's for her adult children. We've had so many letters like this. They're not kids, they're grown. Okay? Adult children. Okay? Those aren't babies. Those are some sponging ass, trifling piece of shit adults that she's trying to keep on, babying them into adulthood and making them useless. I did a whole video about that, about parents who enable their children into uselessness. This is a perfect example. We had an example the other day where it was the father, or I think it was Friday, the father of the adult children was doing that. And the wife was the one who was going to have to leave. So this is the kind of stuff. See, I would not that we're not doing this. And this is the kind of thing, if I found out that my mate was doing something like this and treating these adults like this and they were being that trifling, I'd be out. I'm like, no, y'all, you can do what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to be a part of this, and they ain't using my money. They're not dirtying up the lot, doing nothing in the house that's going to cause me to have to clean up nothing, nothing. You know, wow. They don't pay no bills. They don't help buy no food. They don't clean up. They're just parasites. So that means if there's all that's going on, that means he's having to step up and fill in some of those gaps and do some of that cleaning. And with 2 more adults in the house, that's more water, right? That's more power. That's more groceries that's being used. So, they're costing him money too. Nah, I'd have to go. I'd have to go. I don't want to be bothered with nobody's kids. Little kids, big kids, teenage kids, adult kids. I don't want to be bothered. If you that kind of raggedy parent, I don't have no time for you. Sitting up there just letting them suck on your titty for the rest of their life. Shh, that's poor parenting. Okay, very poor parenting. And you these people talking about, oh, that's my child. That's my child. That's a grown ass motherfucker and a grown ass bitch. It should be kicking it for themselves. And you sit up there enabling it and taking care of them like they're still infants in Pampers. You are a bad mom. Okay, just understand. You ain't shit as a parent because your job as a parent is to raise your kids to be responsible adults. And instead, you keeping them infantilized at your house, taking care of them like they still four. Poor parenting. And this them don't think some man's gonna want to stay with you either, because they gonna come in, they gonna see that shit, and they gonna be right back the fuck up out of there. Or they just gonna, tap the pussy and be out. A hit it and quit it situation. They're not gonna want to invest in you when they see that everything they invest in you is going towards some adults that's perfectly capable of taking care of themselves. That's some bullshit. Let's move on to question number 8, female 30 to 35 from Logan City, Australia. That's a new name. I don't remember seeing that before. So, about 2 months ago, my husband found out that his dad has leukemia. Since then, my husband hasn't been the same. His dad is doing well with his treatments, and so far, it seems like he's going to get through this. He's been in the hospital receiving treatment, and my husband hasn't physically seen him for about a month. Anyways, my husband is clearly depressed. He breaks down and cries at times, and I comfort him, of course. He barely talks to me. He's drinking more and not eating healthily at all. I think he's gained some weight. And he most certainly is not interested in doing much with me at all, and eggplant's completely off the table. Have you ever heard of anyone going through something like this? How long will this last? I just want my husband back. I don't know. Just walk up to him and slap the shit out of him. Say, snap the fuck out of it. What's wrong with you? The man is still alive, and you acting like he's died and and was found his body bones was found in a mountain or something. You're being dramatic. Snap the fuck out of it and grow up and act like a man. Go see your daddy. And I think that would put his mind to ease, because he get to see his father's doing okay. And obviously he's going to die, but you know what? That's each and every one of us. The second you pull you out that womb and you go wham wham wham, you start dying. Okay, that's it. I don't know why people don't really want to accept that. The clock starts ticking towards death the instant that you're born. Okay, and if you think of it that way, it's kind of something you just have to accept. Okay, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. Okay, and anybody going to be living forever. So whether it's our parents or ourselves, our mates or our children, whatever, everybody's time here is finite. Okay, so he's acting like a big ass baby. I wouldn't be able to handle this at all. I would be over there bopping him upside the head with something to tell him to snap out of it and demanding that he go and see his father. I think that's going to be a big part of it. But it would start with me kicking his ass first, though. Yeah, I don't know why my mind comes up with that kind of stuff. But this is silly. Your husband is being like a dramatic little bitch, and that's what I would tell him. You act like a little bitch, and just is not sexy at all, at all. Ugh. Yeah, how long will this last? I don't know. Do I look like Miss Cleo? We ask me stuff like that. Question number 9, male, 18 to 21, Philadelphia. I was messaged by a friend last night, and she told me that I behaved like a creep to her and 3 of our mutual friends in the past on separate occasions. I ran through my previous interactions with these women, and I realized they were right. 2 of these women were ones I had crushes on, and when I'd see them at social gatherings, I'd leer at them, hover around them, and follow them outside to talk when they were leaving. More recently, I drunkenly messaged one of them the following, colon, Hi, blank. I'm drunk, lonely, and COVID negative. If you're feeling the same, hit me up. I never cross physical boundaries, but I feel like that's the bare minimum of decency. I've never been very confident, and I've always seen myself as socially awkward, and I excuse my behavior to myself because of that. I also recognize the justified fear women have now of how men behave around them in public places. I've always dreaded making them feel that way, and knowing I fail to make people I care about feel safe is eating me up inside. I messaged my friend an apology. She didn't reply and left me on read. She said I should keep to myself. I'm planning to follow that advice and talk to a therapist. After reading and digesting so many stories of men treating women awfully, I feel like I've committed a mortal sin and that I'm the bad guy in one of those stories. Is there any way I can come back from this? Oh, absolutely. You're halfway there by, acknowledging that you recognize what the problem is and what other men are doing and how women is affecting women. That is in itself so huge. Most men just want to brush it off and act like, women should be flattered that men say foul and funky, leery, disgusting things to them. And that it means that he finds her attractive and that's a compliment. And, he's not doing it. How else is he going to get to know her if he doesn't hit on her, even when she's minding her own business, walking up and down the street, not trying to be bothered? So these are all things that that you're coming to grips with, and I appreciate that about you. Now, what you're going to do, get you some therapy. It might be good to go to group so that you could talk to other men who are you're coming to the same kind of realizations, and your therapist, leader of the group, can guide you to some better understanding of yourselves, how you got that way, what was it you hoped to accomplish by acting like that, the terror that you instilled in women. You started the right way by apologizing. That's good. She'll, accept it at one point. She's probably still very angry at you and disappointed because when we have a male friend, someone that we do trust, and they come out the box like that, it's not only shocking, it's disgusting and it's disturbing and it hurts our feelings and it makes us lose respect for you. So she's got a lot of emotions right now about what you did. That text, I'm drunk, lonely, and COVID negative. What in the world possessed you to say that? But anyway, let's start with that. Try to find a group where you can, men who are trying to raise their consciousness and better understand themselves and how to relate to women and stuff like that. Start putting some feelers out, and I'm sure that somebody will give you a referral, and then you should start going. I think it would be really, really good for you, and then report back. Tell me what findings you've uncovered about yourself and other guys. This will be very interesting. Yeah, that leering thing. I'm like, what? I know it's like, what did you think that's gonna do? You think that's gonna make a woman so hot that she's just gonna want to just fall into your arms? No, we think you're a roach. You're just a disgusting pig. No woman wants to be with a man who stands around leering at women like that. That's disgusting. And they just all do it and have the nerve to think, well, I'm trying to get to know somebody. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're just being a slime bucket. Let's move on to question number 10. Oh, this is going on forever. How many letters did I say we have? 25. Oh, and I'm only on number 10. She's in the 31 to 35 age group out of SAC. Is it really that common for people to decide they're not ready for a relationship after a couple of dates? I have to ask because I need to know if it's just me or if this happens to other people too. I've seen this happen a lot more now in years past and after two or three really good dates that I get the nothing is wrong, you're awesome, but I'm not ready for a relationship message, which kind of begs the question of why they were dating to begin with, but obviously not my place to judge. Is that just more common as we get older that people get cold feet in the dating world? Or is it just a more popular excuse to avoid saying that you're not into someone? It seemed in my 20s it was a lot more common for myself or the other person to just say, you're cool, but not really my type, so best of luck, than the not ready messaging. Lordy, I hope this isn't just me this happens to, and that you put the little frowny face. No, you're not the only one, but sometimes, you got to realize there's people who go onto dating apps for different reasons. Sometimes they just broke up with somebody and they just want to try to put themselves back out there and, meet people and talk, have somebody to talk to and go hang out with and enjoy, going places with or whatever. They're not trying to have no grand romance. I mean, if they get a little nookie out of it, I guess they're happy about that. But they're not really trying to invest any emotion like what you're talking about. Okay, there's that crowd. There's a crowd that is involved in something. They're working, they're going to school, they're striving for something. They're busy in other way. They're raising kids. They have sick parents. I mean, there's something that's occupying the majority of their time and energy, and they don't really have it to devote to a relationship. And they know that, so they enjoyed you. Of course, you're great. You're wonderful. They had a good time, but they know that that's as far as they can go. And so they tell you. And then the final one are the people who they just out there just doing whatever, and They meet somebody and say, oh, well, she's a nice girl and stuff. And if I was in the mode to be in a relationship, I would probably pick her. But right now, I just want to hoe around. I'm not trying to be in a relationship. And, I can see that this would go on a serious tip, a path I'm not trying to go on. So I got to put the brakes on this now and dip out. Okay? Right? You know, and then, of course, there's, like you say, that final category where they may really want a relationship, but they just don't want one with you. But no matter which of those four reasons it is, the bottom line is they don't want what you want. So no matter what excuse they give, the end result is the same. You're not going to be in a relationship with them. Okay, so all this angst about why and the reasons and the excuses and all this stuff is to me irrelevant because to me there's only one answer: we gonna be in a relationship or we not. Okay, now all the other stuff that they want to talk about to me is irrelevant. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. La 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 la. I don't want to hear it. Just are we gonna do this or not? Well, no. Okay, that's it. I'm done. All right. So that if you start putting it, that perspective, see, you're putting too much on it. You're doing all this thinking and analyzing and trying to come up with all these reasons and all this old stuff. Let's move on. Question 11. This is from a young man in the 25 to 29 age group from Vancouver. I've only been dating for a year and I'm still working out all the conventions. But one thing that has surprised me is that several girls have told me that I'm mysterious and hard to read. When I ask them what they mean by that, they say they don't know where they stand. What surprises me is that I'm certain that I've given them more compliments than they have ever given me, and I've been the first one to tell them that I like them and enjoy spending time with them. I also typically initiate more dates and text conversations than them. However, when I don't get equivalent feedback and engagement in return, I tend to match their level of enthusiasm and step back. I've spoken to some female friends, and they're suggested that women deliberately hold back their emotions and feelings early on in dating until they're certain that the guy is invested, and they expect him to actively and almost unilaterally court them until this point, possibly for 2 months. I find this concept really difficult as romantic reciprocity is extremely important to me. Are men really expected to lead emotional intimacy? Where's your daddy? Didn't he teach you anything? You know how sad it is that just these young men don't know anything about how to date. These fathers, again, bad parenting. You know, this is bad parenting. No, he's not emotionally unavailable. He's doing what I said, mirroring other people's energy. That's actually a smart way to do it. You don't want to get in too deep, and the other person's not really showing you anything. But I'm going to tell you this. How you tell the woman that you like her and, we have fun together. Okay, that's a casual thing. That doesn't mean anything. You like her, so what, you like your dog too. What does that mean for her? It doesn't mean anything. That's why they say you're hard to read. Women want you to look at them, stare them in their eyes, or hold them close and tell them right in their face, I want to be with you. I can see this going places. I can't get enough of you. You're so wonderful. I'm so glad I met you. They want to hear stuff like that. And then, of course, you have to back it up. But that's what they mean about you being hard to read. You're not giving those kind of messages where they know there's something concrete. You say some vague, esoteric shit like, well, I like you. You're pretty. And you don't understand why that might be a problem? Think about this some more, and I'm sure you'll figure this out. This is kind of a stupid question. This is something you could have figured out on your own. You just only been dating a year. I guess so. Question number 12. Female, 35 to 39 age group from Huddersfield in the UK. We are married, but we never get busy, if you know what I mean. I'm in my late 30s. My husband's in his late 40s. It's okay, and things plod along. He says we don't fight. She put row. I had to figure out what row, that's fight. He says he's perfectly happy. We don't have eggplant because he refuses to do anything about birth control. He won't use condoms or get a vasectomy. He wants to risk timing. I won't risk timing because I've already had two very high risk, difficult pregnancies. And although given my age is probably not likely, my cycles are still regular and normal, so it's possible. You're only in the 35 to 39 age group. You can still get pregnant. He says either I take the pill or we risk timing, and I've taken the pill before, and I don't want to be on it. I have migraines with aura and cannot take estrogen-based hormone medication. I took the mini pill for a long time before we had children. I don't think I even wanted to have eggplant with him anyway, and presumably it's mutual because he's not fussed about the vasectomy that he's been mentioning for the past 6 years and not done anything about it. We're nearly 6 years since we've last had eggplant now. God, that's even worse when written down, she wrote. I'm depressed about it. I feel checked out, but I don't hate him. I care about him. I love my children. They are happy. My life is a very separate to his and always has been, but my children are happy. I just need to wait it out another 12 or 13 years until my daughter is 18. Remind me how the grass is greener. Okay, one thing I'm not hearing here is okay, you don't want to do it because you want to put the responsibility for it on him. Why can't you go get yourself a tubal ligation? You don't want no kids. You having all these like horrible pregnancies. Seems like you would have had that done when you after you had your last baby. They can do it, right there at the same time while they all up in there. They just tie off your tubes, fry them up a little bit, and you're done. That would be what I recommend for you. Okay, you know you don't want to get pregnant again. It's too hard for you physically. You can't take, the hormones. I'm with you. I can't do that either. And so, that is a very viable solution that's safe and, is it done in the doctor's office, in and out. So it's like, but nowhere in here did you mention that as an option, and you just getting all mad because he won't do anything. But you the one that don't want to get pregnant, so you should be taking responsibility for that on your own self, right? And you're not doing that. So this is very interesting. I'm not sure what's going on in your marriage where y'all want to sit there. Y'all would rather point the fingers at each other than find a solution to this problem. This is very interesting. Yeah, it doesn't work for every woman. And not only that, even if you're on the pill and you take it correctly, um, if you are sick, some medications interact with those hormones there's another word for it, but basically like it neutralizes them. So you have a risk of pregnancy, just from being sick. Antibiotics are a big one that impact uh, birth control pills. And they always tell you use a backup method, but we all know about the failure rate of those. So then you got an issue, and there's problems that happen. Like I was using birth control, and guess what? My daughter it's still here. Okay, so sometimes shit happens, and I was very diligent. Don't tell me nothing. But sometimes some kids are just meant to be here, I guess. I remember seeing a show on Montel. Okay, this lady had a tubal ligation, and the man had had a vasectomy. Sitting in their lap was a 1-year-old baby. Both of them still look shell shocked. They were red hair, and I think they were from Ireland or something. And sitting there with this little redheaded baby, and just she was fat. She was very cute, and they were just sitting there, just holding her, just looking stunned. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. You're gonna still have a baby, and it's like we think we understand this whole process, but obviously there's too many loopholes that we don't understand, and babies get here anyway. And then you be sitting there like, well, how did this happen? And the people start laughing at you. They thinking, but you don't know about the birds and the bees. And no, it's not that I don't know about. I'm trying to figure out what happened because we had all these things going on, and this still pregnancy happened. So yeah, I'll never forget that. That's when Montel show was on. I sat there and stared in there. Everybody in the whole audience was like, so anyway, here we go. Question number 13, male, 35 to 39 out the UK. I want to run something by you. Should I add self-employed to my online dating profile or not? I am curious if I should take it off or keep it in there. I'm a successful 36-year-old business owner. I inherited it from my dad and worked there ever since I was in my teens. It is a successful, well established business with a solid reputation, not MLM or anything shady. How do you think most women view seeing self employed on a dating profile? If you think I should take it off, what should I put instead? I don't know. I mean, I could tell you, like a lot of the women here, Okay, a dude will say he's self-employed, but what it really means is he's unemployed and he's a hustler. Okay, he's a hustler, a booster, a street corner pharmaceutical person. He's got some kind of something like that going on. So he'll say that he's self-employed, but in reality, he's not. There's no business. Let me put it that way. Um, but you actually have a business. So I don't know what the thing is. Is it like a checkbox, or does it say that can own it? I mean, there's something you can write in, and then you could say check self-employed to say, I know that this is a problem for a lot of women. This is in the part where you write the essay, right? I know a lot of women do, this is a problem and they're very suspect, but I inherited my business from my dad. It's a very well established, profitable business with what you call with a solid reputation. So no funny business here. Something like that. And then just you don't do it. You don't need to lie. Yeah, see, she says when I see self-employed, I see broke. When I see self-employed, I want to ask questions because everybody in my family is self-employed. My mother ran a daycare business for 30 years. She made so much money, it was ridiculous. And my dad he always owned real estate. So he was self-employed. He never wanted to work for nobody. The last time that man worked on a job, he was 19 years old. He never did it again. He always, was working for himself after that. So that's where I get it from. I've seen examples for how that works, and it can be, very successful. But, you think you're going to work a 40-hour job? Mm-mm. When you're working for yourself, you working 80, 90 hours sometimes. It doesn't stop. You work weekends, you work holidays, you work daytime, you work nighttime. You get up in the middle of the night to work. But you do it with passion because it's yours, you know. But that's why I'm saying you to put that explanation sentence or two in the text part, um, and then it should be fine. But if you have someone who doesn't understand about business people and entrepreneurs, then that's probably not a good match for you. There's a lot of women who are afraid of that. They want a man who's got like a regular paycheck. Of course, then you look at the companies that go belly up and people lose their jobs and get fired and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why they so particular in thinking that's such a grand move to make, but it makes them feel more secure, and so there you go. Let's move on to question number 14. This is a female in the 22 to 25 age group from York, Canada. I met him a year or so after I was assaulted, and he knows details about how things went down. Why would you tell him that? Knowing this history, I explicitly told him that I didn't want to talk to him because he refuses to accept how he is part of this larger problem. The first night we slept together, he was aggressive and he only saw me as a piece of meat, although he does realize that he was aggressive. Recently, after not having spoken for a couple of months because I told him I didn't want to, he reached out to me about something he needed help with. I said yes. Later that night, slightly triggered, I told him that if and when I wanted to speak to him, I would contact him again. I told him I didn't want to stay in touch for the time being because whether he likes it or not, he's deeply misogynistic. In summarizing some of our conversation, he told me that I should take accountability for the night that I got assaulted. Wow. I told him that I was scared of men, and he told me that that was irrational. I gave up on that conversation and told him that I'd speak to him when I chose to. We've had countless conversations about gender. I want to text him and tell him that men like him are the reason I would be scared for a very, very long time. Wow. Okay, this is somebody that you didn't really want to talk to, and I'm wondering why you did not take the steps to block this guy. Why do you keep engaging with him and letting him violate your boundaries like that and come into your life like that? Once you decided that he was someone that you didn't want to talk to, you were supposed to block him to make sure that that never happened. There's no redeeming value in this relationship. All it does is cause you stress, strife, and angst. Okay, he's not bringing anything to your world. Why do you keep the door open for him to continue to harass you, berate you, belittle you, demean you, and taunt you like this? I'm confused. Okay, if this is your hobby, you need to find one like painting, drawing, yoga, something that's going to bring, beauty and peace to your heart in life, not idiots. Okay, I'm really confused here. Yeah, block him and don't you ever call him again. Okay, that's the answer to this question. Yeah, she does need some therapy. But it's like the letter, did you, I mean, it's kind of disjointed and stuff. Girlfriend, please do something to start working on that. And you got to get some help knowing how to establish boundaries to protect yourself. And this kind of thing that you shared with this idiot is something you should never have told him. You don't tell men stuff like that. All they're going to do is use it against you, as you see. There's no benefit to you to tell a man about something traumatic that happened to you in your past. Keep it to yourself. The only person who should know that may be your parents and your shrink. That's it. Not your friends, not your other relatives, nobody. Let's move on to question number 15. This is a female in the 26 to 29 age group out of Columbus, Ohio. I was in love with my ex boyfriend, and sadly, I still am to an extent. He was pretty fantastic to me on his good days, and we were happy together. I hear violins playing. Here are a few reasons why I had to leave him, though. He had a drinking and drug problem. He wasn't serious about getting proper care for his schizophrenia. He couldn't be trusted around money, and he was mostly and verbally abusive. Okay. Is it me? You was in love with somebody like that? He couldn't have got the time from me, let alone of being in a relationship. Sleeping with him, call him my man and all of that? No, no, no. And he's mentally ill. He's got schizophrenia, and he's got a drinking and a drug problem, and he can't be trusted around money probably because he steals it to fund his drinking and drug problem, and he was abusive too. But to boot, no. Before I left him, he was threatening to hurt me physically, and I'm pregnant as well. Okay, wait. Okay, this gets worse. Okay, so you got yourself pregnant by someone who's a schizophrenic, drunk, drug addict, thief who's verbally and emotionally abusive. That's what you're telling me right now. That was the best that you could do for a father for your child. Out of all the men in the world, you had to find somebody with all these afflictions to get pregnant by. So now you're going to have a fucked up baby. You think your problems are ended because you got rid of him? Oh, no, they're just starting because that's his kid. And so now he's going to have to be in your life for visitation and child support and all that kind of stuff for 18 years. Too bad you didn't get an abortion. I was so scared that he would hurt my unborn child and I couldn't defend myself, so I tried not to make it escalate even further. When I left, he didn't know that I was leaving until my dad showed up and he found out that I hid my money from him. He and his family were saying that I was sneaky and fake. I'm still the one being blamed for the relationship being broken because I left. Even after I left, he called me awful names, threatened me, insulted my looks, and wished that the child would be stillborn or had have a miscarriage. Now he's starting to come back around wanting to know about our kid. I don't know how to feel because he's way too nice to me. I'm terrified of co parenting with him and, more importantly, my child being around him. It's a pretty tricky situation for me, and I have depression and anxiety to prove it. I didn't realize that what he said and did to me would have such a harsh impact on me. I still don't know how I can be blamed for that. I'm just glad I left when I did. Sometimes I still miss him, but I'm petrified to end up in that situation again. Okay, so where's the question? I guess this should have ended. Did I make a stupid decision? Yes, a bunch of them. And now if he goes to court and makes you get a DNA test and all that, and it's proven that his kid, now he's gonna fight you for child support. He might want to fight you for custody, so he could have it. His parents could raise it or something. You just opened up a whole Pandora's box with this silliness that you did. You could have had a baby by anybody other than somebody who already has genes for addiction and schizophrenia. Your child is gonna be born stupid. Your child is born stupid. Your child, you already messed your kid up. Your child's options for success are already limited because his father's DNA and genes are all fucked up. This was the worst possible decision that you could have made. I don't even understand what you were thinking. Why would you stay with somebody like that? Why would you get pregnant with someone like that? Okay, so anyway, you didn't really ask a question, but I'm asking some of you. What you do that shit for? That was dumb. Okay, so let's move on. Question number 16. Female, 30 to 35, out of San Jose, California. I'm getting married in exactly 1 month. The problem is, I never got around to changing my name back to my maiden name after my divorce. Here's the big kicker. I want to change my name after I marry my fiance to my name, middle name, maiden name, his name. So you want to have four names. I want two unhyphenated last names. This is someone who has entirely too much time on her hands. He is very unsupportive of my choice to keep my maiden name. His argument is you didn't keep your maiden name for your ex. Why were you willing to give it up for him and not for me? Well, firstly, my previous marriage was nothing to do with you. Secondly, I was young and not a feminist. Thirdly, at the time my brother was planning on having children and now he and his wife are not. So I'm the only one with the only way my maiden name will continue. I have no uncles or anyone else who will be around to carry on the family name. And lastly, and the least important, I dislike his last name. It sounds terrible with my name, and its meaning is just bleh. He has absolutely no contact with his father or that side of his family anyway. So I don't know why he has any sort of attachment to this. In fact, he has told me before that he asked his mom's brother to adopt him when he was younger so that he could have their last name. I am adamant about the two last names and will be fine being referred to as Mrs. his last name socially. But I do want my two last names to pass on to my children. That way they have his last name and my maiden name. Another thing I was wondering if I should do a quick scramble to change my name back to my maiden name prior to the wedding, or would it be fine to just change it from my divorced name to my maiden name, his name, after the wedding? I only go by my divorce name legally, so even our wedding invitations, I'm under my maiden name. Though I am concerned about having my divorce name on my new wedding certificate. You see what I mean? She don't have nothing to do. She don't have shit to do. So she gonna sit around and worrying about this to the ninth degree. This is the solution. This is the solution. This will solve all of those problems. What you're gonna do is tell your husband, since you don't like his last name anyway, to take your name. And these four names, you're not gonna do that. You're gonna have your first name, your maiden name, and his last name. This is very common in families of great wealth. That is how they carry on the name of, of the mother side, the maternal side of the family. Is carried because all the children carry the mother's name and the father's name. That is a tradition. So that in itself is nothing unique. But this is what I think that he should change his name to yours. So why don't you start lobbying for that? And then this issue that you have about carrying on your family name, it will be solved because all the kids you have will have your family name to them. The end. I am so good. Yeah, you brain dead. I'm just like, my God, this chick, you know, she putting way too much thought into this. It's not that hard. Your first name, your maiden name, his last name, and he's gonna take your last name. Everything's wrapped up nice and tidy. That's what what's his name? Zoe, what's his name's husband did? He took her last name. I thought shit, yeah, because her name is like Saldana. He said, "Oh, that it has something to it." Yeah, I do this. I kept it straight because this is what I do. This is what I do, so I have to keep it straight so I can give a good answer. But yeah, that's my answer to you. He's gonna take your name. Question 17, female 40 45 out of New York. I'm going on a fifth date this weekend with a dude I met on Bumble. I'm 40 and he's 44. He's wonderful, kind, thoughtful, protective about planning dates, not protective, proactive, good communicator, and I find him attractive. But my feelings for him haven't really grown any stronger during the time we've been seeing each other. I really liked him on our first date, and I really like him now, but I haven't felt a strong desire to progress things physically. We kissed on the third date, and it was fine, but there weren't really any sparks. I told him I wanted to take things slow, and he was totally fine with that, which made me feel better. After our dinner date last week, I invited him back to my place because the restaurant was closing, and I wanted to continue the date. We kissed some more, and he was a little aggressive and handsy, which was kind of a turn off, but I went along with it. Probably not the best decision on my part. Now I feel like he's going to expect to be invited to my house again this weekend and that more will happen between us, but I'm just not feeling it after that unpleasant kissing experience. He's a great guy and seems to see a future between us. He suggested taking our online profiles down after day 4, which we did. And I think he would be a great partner, but something in me is holding back. I wish really my feelings were there, but I don't feel like I can fake it till I make it without frustrating and or hurting him. Any advice? Well, just tell him. Tell him that you try to pull out that line from the previous letter. I don't really want to be in a relationship. I just want to date around. That's what that girl said happens to her. So pull that out. Use that shit. And it's just like you just want to date around and you're not really trying to get too tied up. And so you need to put the brakes on now because 5 dates is, that might be making a statement that you really probably shouldn't be making because you're not feeling it like that or something like that. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. See me, like when he started getting handsy and stuff when we just kissing, and I didn't ask you to put your hands on me and try to get under my clothes and do all that kind of stuff like that. See, you would have got cussed out. I said, kiss, motherfucker. You kiss with your lips. Your hands need to stay wherever they are. You be grabbing me like that, you nasty pervert. See, then he would have got tossed out. Yeah, but but see, had he not messed this up, she probably at least would have gone for it because I'm gonna tell you something. When you're getting in your 40s, you looking for chemistry like you a fucking teenager. Stop it. You're supposed to be picking a man with your brain. He's decent. You go by how he treats you and stuff like that. You ain't having no babies. And so it's like, what you doing? We're looking for all this chemistry and shit like you did when you was 19. Okay, you're supposed to be a mature woman picking stuff differently. You want it to be good, but men can deliver good eggplant, and you don't have to be like all hot and bothered about them and going crazy. You do realize that, right? That can happen. You don't have to be in love and passionate about them and all that kind of stuff. And usually, by the time a woman gets like that, she start acting stupid anyway. It's better to be able to, keep yourself a calm mental state about it. So I think, but other than I think he had an opportunity, but he fucked it up by rushing things and being handsy, you know. And the whole thing about relationships when you're older, you're looking for a different kind of man. You're looking for a companion. I mean, like I said, yeah, you don't want to be repulsed by the guy. You want to be able to know that you're gonna sleep with him and you both have a good time, and it's he gonna deliver the goods and all of that. You don't want to be where he turns you off. Or you don't want him to touch you and all that kind of stuff. But there's a middle ground there, ladies. There's that passion, wildfire stuff that have you driving around looking for dudes, and going crazy, calling up all his other women and going through his phone and going all crazy. Okay, no, that's for youngsters. Then there's the middle ground, like I'm talking about, where you're interested, you have great conversations, you have fun together, you think a lot alike, you have things in common, and then there's the ones where it's just dead, and most of the married those are married couples that are heading for divorce, you know. So she's kind of in the middle, but like I said, I think he turned her off by his handsiness, which was very disrespectful. And so there you go. So this is gonna be he messed this up himself. And that show would be the way to play it too. I was really thinking that we were having something here, but I felt like you totally disrespected me by the way that you acted when you were here. And I haven't been comfortable thinking about it and I don't want to go out with you anymore. Make it his fault. He can't control himself. He just don't want. He's just a man in his 40s. He can control himself. That's some youngsters that have used that excuse, but even they can control themselves. Question number 18, male, 22 to 29, from Kansas City, Kansas. This girl and I were dating around 5 years ago, and she seemed to like me a lot. I knew that someone else was interested in her, but convinced myself that she wouldn't be interested in that guy, and she seemed happy with me. 4 months into the relationship, one of my friends found out that she was engaged to that guy. I confronted her, but she said no, although my gut feeling, I knew that she was lying, so I stopped talking to her. She did keep messaging after, but I kept ignoring her. A few months later, I found out that she did get married. By then, I had deleted her entirely from everything. Like I said, that was 5 years ago. But now she's divorced and it's been about 18 months. No, she had a divorce around 18 months after that. So she only stayed married for 18 months. We got back in touch last year and are back together. And things were good at first, but I'm having regrets about it now as we have been arguing a lot lately. It sometimes feels as she wants me to chase her, even though I do a lot for her already. I have also found that she's had quite a few boyfriends since her divorce, making me uncomfortable. I think she likes it when guys pine for her, but I've always been the type never to chase people. Sometimes I feel like she ignores me for a day or two to see if I chase her, but I also don't like that she seems pretty friendly with other guys. I know I should start to let go of this relationship feels unhealthy, but I feel too attached to her. Advice on what I should do would be helpful. Thank you. Yes, slap yourself because you're being stupid. You got all these things to know that the woman's not really into you like what you want her to be. I don't understand why you can't just cut it loose. You gonna wait till she gives you a disease or something? As you get jumped by some dude who she's dating and who thinks that he's the only one and that she's cheating with you? That's what you're gonna wait for? I don't know. I'm not seeing what's the big deal about this woman. Why are you so sprung on her? That must be some fantabulous nook, cause you just going crazy. Um, that she ignores you. I mean, what is it that I don't understand what it is that you're looking for here that you think you're going to get from her. It's not going to happen. She left you and married somebody else the first time. This woman doesn't have any respect for you, dude. None. Okay? None. Let this go for your own mental sake, mental health. Let this go. My goodness. Let's move on. Wait, let me get some water. My throat's getting dry. Well, I've always said most men are very boring. They're very boring creatures. And the women in their life provide excitement. Now, that excitement can be positive, where she, drags them along on different trips, and they have hobbies and interests. They throw parties. They have company over. They're dancing and singing, and they're playing, having domino and card gatherings and barbecues, and the family comes. Their the excitement can be that way, or it could be this negative kind of toxic excitement. But either way, it gets them outside of their boring little selves. Men are boring as fuck. That's just the way it is. And so they look for women to provide them with excitement and, to make them feel like they're alive. And so he's gotten addicted to that feeling, but it's a negative. It's negative. Whereas he could get the same kind of feeling of excitement, it could be positive with some other woman, but he's not willing uh, to take that chance. He's going to wait until his face gets cracked, and hopefully not literally by some guy's fist, and then he'll wake up. Let's move on. Question 19, female 35 to 39 from Oakland, California. I started online dating with someone 2.5 weeks ago that lives in the UK. He's 45, I'm in my 30s. I live in the west coast of the U.S. I know where Oakland is. We hit it off instantly well and have at least texted each other every day since. We had 3 total phone conversations and some really great sexting. I never sexted anyone in my life, by the way, but with him it was natural and great. I'm fully vaxxed. I booked a flight to come see him in the fall. I'm terribly smitten and sprung for him and want to see if there's a future with us. In the past 2 days, he said he has been busy. My heart is totally for this guy, and at the advice of my best friend, I've been continuing to talk to other men, but I just feel empty and unattracted to them because my focus is on UK guy. I'm afraid that he might be losing interest, though, and I feel foolish for holding out for him. He seems like he's the perfect guy and would be so worth it to meet. I'm tired of weary of the dating scene and need advice on how to be patient with this one. I also wonder if I'm lost in translation when it comes to British men. Do they prefer women to be more flirty and forward or the other way around? I don't know if I'm overanalyzing this at this point. I'm just emotionally exhausted from recent failed dating attempts and from the fear of being ghosted by this guy. Ultimately, my question to you is, should I be patient with this guy or be upfront with my intention and what I would like with him? What if this scares him off? Ugh, girl, he's in another country on the other side of the world. Okay, you are putting too much on it. 2.5 weeks, you started talking to him 2.5 weeks ago, and you already bought a plane ticket? There's something wrong with you. Okay, this is all kinds of out of order. First of all, has the man even said that he wants you to come? Why would he not come here? Why would you have to go there? I mean, are you guys supposed to be trying to be a couple over the phone and Zoom in the UK? DDS said she scared me off. Yeah, this is very kind of odd. I mean, I understand that you're tired and exhausted of online dating. I mean, I get tired of it just reading the letters from the experiences that y'all have. I'm not even trying to do that. But this situation here, you're doing too much. You're doing too much and you're moving too fast. And you putting too much on a dude that you don't even really know. 2.5 weeks of talking on the phone? You need to slow down. Slow down. Cash that ticket back in while you still have time. With COVID, your ass ain't going nowhere anyway. But you definitely don't need to be spending all that money going across there anywhere to see a man. If you're going on vacation. Take some of your girls and y'all all go. But you don't be going nowhere just to see a man that you met on the online dating site that you don't know nothing about. Yeah, you know I would get banned because I would be cussing people out. Because I understand that they don't really like uh you to tell people about themselves. And I live for that. That's all I do. So somebody came at me all kind of crazy. I would tell them about themselves and they would probably kick me off the site. You can't be talking to people like that. Oh, well, I just did. Too bad. He needed a reality check. But yeah, um, you're trying to be patient with you. Okay, patience indicates that you're in a relationship and you're just waiting for things to advance. You're not in a relationship with this guy. I don't know what you're talking about. Be patient about what? Girl, something you doing too much. You need to really talk to your best friends about this and get yourself back down to earth because you doing the most. The most. Yeah, you will gonna get ghosted by because he gonna realize you kind of cray cray, and he's gonna be like, "Oh no, if I had actually met her and slept with her and stuff, she might become a stalker, and so then he wouldn't be able to get rid of you." He's not gonna do that. You better slow your roll. Get your friends involved in this so they can help pull you back down to earth. Ooh, question number 20, female 30 to 35. Oh, no location provided. I used to be on this channel a lot more, but life kind of got in the way. I need a sounding board right now with the issue I'm having because I'm trying to be certain I'm not just speaking in an echo chamber when I go to my friends and family on this one. I've been with my husband for 10 years. I'm all the time I've known him. He's gone to church maybe, she says, 10 times in 10 years. Usually either at Christmas or Easter. Oh, he's one of them. What they call it a CME. Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter church goer. His mother's very involved in her church. He half-heartedly tried to get me to join, but I am atheist agnostic and lean more towards the atheist side of things. All I've ever asked is that when it comes to religion, we stay in our lanes. I'm not going to try to convince him of my beliefs and vice versa. We compromised about having kids. He said he'd take him to church occasionally, and I said, okay. Then our child was born. He wanted to have a dedication for our baby at the church. I said, fine, but I wouldn't plan it, and I'm not going. He really very much a person who drops the ball, so that never happened. His mother, despite my making it clear I wasn't going to be involved, tried to get me to plan it. I resisted, and she tried to convince me by saying it wouldn't get done. If I didn't plan it, I told her to talk to her son. A few weeks ago, I got a text from my husband telling me that he's planning it. I told him not to make it for the past weekend because that's our baby's first birthday, and my family was coming down for a birthday party and for a visit. Well, a few hours later, it's all planned for exactly the weekend I told him not to plan it. Not surprising since he often does stuff like this. I was annoyed, but nothing much I could do. Then earlier last week, I ended up in the hospital and will likely need surgery over the coming weeks to fix the issue I'm having. I'm tired and in pain, and on top of that, I ended up with a cold. Okay, so she's going on and on about stuff that don't have nothing to do with it. Okay, so then the mother sends an email telling me that it's not an arduous thing and for me to come to their part little thing anyway, even though the woman just got out the hospital now. She also sent the flyer for this week's church service, and it's not a dedication. I'm apparently supposed to be taking, quote, vows of Christian parenthood. This was never, ever how it was described to me. That evening, my husband reiterated that I didn't have to go. Then he hopes that I'm going. Then he told me what time to have the baby ready. Then later they get home. I find out that they had planned a birthday party for the baby without my knowledge. So I missed my baby's first cake candle blowout. Wow. He tells me that his mother's very disappointed in me, that she's very upset, and that it seems as though nothing will ever be important to me simply because it's important to him. And that's what spouses do. He also tells me that I need to come to church in the coming months to thank everyone. And that I'm expected to come in the future when he takes our son because it's important to him and his mother and our son. I don't agree. I feel so manipulated right now from the way the whole thing was misrepresented to the lack of concern over my health to the attempt to guilt me over this when I never said I was going to go to church or participate. By the way, he's talking to me about this is making me second guess myself. Did I do the wrong thing by not going? Am I wrong for not wanting to go in the future when I said I wasn't? Am I unbending and too rigid about this? I'm not sure what to do. Everyone I talk to says I made the right decision not to go and that I shouldn't bend and go in the future either. But like I said, I'm not sure if I'm in an echo chamber or not. Do you have any ideas or insight? Yes, you're dealing with a narcissist. And what you're doing is being gaslighted. Okay? All this stuff, you know what I would do? I would go to church. I get to go to church. And when it came time to get up there and thank people, you know what I would do? I would turn that fucking church out. I'd be like, oh, I thank you for coming to listen to my TED talk because I'm about to read that mother-in-law of mine, my trifling two-bit piece of shit husband, and everybody who was in on this scam to try to get me up in here to take some vows of Christian faith. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. Why the fuck would I come up in church and do some shit like that? That's some bullshit, and they knew it was bullshit when they were doing it, trying to trick me in there. I just got out the hospital. Did you think this bitch gave it to your Christian church member? She wanted me to I'm gonna need surgery, and I just got out the hospital, but I need to come up to an event for some shit that I didn't even plan, and that is about a religion that I don't believe in. Hell will freeze over first, and all the little devils will go ice skating before I do any shit like that. Don't ever look for me in this goddamn church because I'll never set foot in here again. Throwing down that microphone and stomp the fuck out. That's what I would do. They would not want me nowhere near that church, and it would be the talk of the church for the next 50 years. Okay, now that I told you don't have me up in church. Now that's what you want to see. I'm about to give you a show. Oh, I would cut the fuck up. And they would be every kind of bitch, hoe, motherfucker, asshole, everything I could think of, all of them. Oh, yeah, I would go, but I would be pointing it to that bitch ass mother in law of mine and that fucking ass backstabbing, trifling, two-bit piece of narcissist husband of mine, her raggedy ass son, and this and that. And I would just talk about them all, just talk about 'em until they start turning off the microphone. And then I would shout. Because, these churches ain't that big. They obviously ain't no mega church. So, you know what I mean? No T.D. Jakes style church. It's some little raggedy neighborhood church. And so you can speak very well without a microphone. Microphone just makes it better. But, oh, yeah, they would not want me in church. They would be like, oh, don't ever invite her back to church. And that would be exactly what I wanted. Mission accomplished. Yeah, they cut the mic. That's what I say. But you can keep talking. You keep talking. And you tell them little usher people be trying to pull you down. I'd be kicking people in the nuts. Say, yeah, touch me again, motherfucker. See, I mean, that's all that. Yeah, well, when you get mad, you do your voice carries well, and that the mic, like I said, is helpful, but it's not necessary. You cussing people out, all you motherfuckers, all of you, bullshit ass bitches, motherfucker. I would just talk about them till I got tired. That's what my husband and my mother-in-law would get out of me. So, you listening to this, that's a strategy. See, you be like, oh yeah, So they're gonna be all happy, right? Oh yeah, she coming to the church. And oh yeah, make sure that you set a microphone up there and because then I'll get up there and then I'll thank everyone and talk about the event and everything. And they'll be like, oh, so excited. They gonna think they won. They think it's gonna be a good thing and that they have convinced you to become a woman of God and go to this raggedy ass two-bit piece of ghetto ass church and do all this old stuff here. Get on that microphone and rock they fucking worlds. They would not be expecting that. And as far as what you told your husband when you guys got married that you were not going to be going to church. Stick to that. Stick to your guns. Don't ever give in. See, that's what they're trying to do is just manipulate you and coerce you and guilt trip you into doing it, that he's using his gaslighting techniques. If you don't know what that is, look at the video I did on gaslighting. There's a whole video on the techniques that they use and how it makes women feel and how it goes down, how it's, the setup goes and then how it ends. So, it would give you a great education about what just happened to you so you understand it was done with intent and forethought and planning, okay, on him, the part of him and his mother. That's why I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let me get on this microphone. I'm telling you, I know me because that's how I am. It's like I told you, I live to get people back. That is what makes my blood flow every day, is to getting you back. Revenge. And so for her husband, he would be so mad. But you know what? I'd be like, look, bitch, because I told you before we got married, I wasn't setting foot in that fucking ass church. But yeah, you want to try to change the rules and come up with something else. I told you I wasn't going, and that's what I meant. Accept it, or if you don't want to accept it, get a divorce. And guess what? I'm still not going to the church. So whether we married or not, I'm still not going. I'm not bringing my kid. You want him to go, you take him. I'm not going. Oh yeah, that's right. The Narc series. That's right. Thanks, Diana. I forgot. He sends church video. Start sending some demon, what they call them, Satan worshiper videos. Since he can do that, you can do your, just some shit just to fuck him up. It doesn't have to mean that you believe in it, but just kind of like it's the same thing. It's people worshiping some faulty being. So what's the difference? God, Jesus, the devil, same shit. Why can't you? Why you do it? I don't get to. I would wear my brother out. He wouldn't want to do that to me. That's why, you know what? But if you, I'm telling you, find you a book about worshiping Satan, a video about worshiping Satan, and put that on the WhatsApp. They will never add you back in again. You will be out forever, and they won't mess with you. Trust me. Trust. They will leave you the hell alone. I don't know what's wrong with these people. This husband is raggedy. Okay, so this little girl's here. Um, Wait a minute. Okay. Question 22, female 21 to 25. Oh, I guess she forgot to put the location. I've been chatting with this guy on text and social media for a few weeks now. He bailed last minute on our first date because he said he had to babysit his son and nephew. We've been trying to coordinate schedules, but now he wants me to come to his house over an hour away or go out, and he wants to bring his 4-year-old son. We've never met before. Something feels off. Is it weird to bring your kid on a first date, or am I overthinking it? I think it's weird. It's very unsavory and unhealthy for the child to be exposed to all those different people, especially during COVID. What is he doing? This is a dude that you need to leave alone. Okay, his judgment is faulty. He's just going to expose his kid because he want to get his dick wet. He's going to expose his kid to a life-threatening disease. Are you connecting these dots that I'm connecting to? Just bring them all up in there with you there, sitting there at the table. And you got to take your mask out because you're going to be eating, right? Wow. Now you pass on this because his judgment is not right. He doesn't have the proper sense of protectiveness that a parent should have, which means he doesn't have it about his own flesh and blood. He's not going to have it about you either. So read between the lines and then understand what kind of man you're dealing with. He is a pussy hound to the point where he's ready to sacrifice his child in order to try to get some. Get Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't go to his house. Don't you meet him. You just stop talking to him. That's an order. Question number 23. This is a male in the 30 to 39 age group from Brooklyn. My 2 kids and a neighbor, they're all ages 5 to 8, spend 4 hours 3 days a week at a local playground with a babysitter we hired late in the summer. We live in Brooklyn and a school has barely been open, so this situation has been an absolute lifesaver. The babysitter is amazing, and we pay her handsomely because we don't want to lose her when we are happy to do it. The problem is that there is a child in one of my kids' classes who often comes to the same playground. This kid is brought by a parent, but invariably the parent needs to run home to get something or has to leave before the other parent can arrive, so they ask our babysitter to watch their kid for a few minutes. It usually ends up being 15 to 30 minutes. We don't know what to do about it. They haven't offered to pay our babysitter or chip in the money that we pay. Our babysitter doesn't seem to be bothered by it. She didn't even mention it. We learned about it from one of our kids. But this babysitter is so important to us and our remaining shreds of sanity that we really don't want her being taken advantage of. Are we being ungenerous? Or should we put a stop to this? Oh, no, you good. Because by the time I found out, I would have been on the phone like, look, first of all, you owe us this amount here for all this free, what you call free babysitting. Number two, this your child is banned from being left with our sitter. Our sitter is not going to be legally responsible for your child in the event that your child gets sick or someone comes along and snatches your child. She's not being paid to watch your kid. She's being paid to watch ours. Okay, so keep your child. If you can't get to stay there with your child until the other parent comes, then you take your kid back home with you. That's how it's gonna go. You do that again, I'm gonna call CPS and call the police and say that you abandoned the child. That's how this is gonna roll. That would be me. I'm not doing. We're not doing that. We're not gonna do that. And it's like I would call the police on your ass because you just walking off leaving a kid, especially now after I told you not to do it and you do it one more time and watch what happens. You're going to have a case, and I'm going to make sure of it because the second that you walk away, I'm going to dial. And I say, there's a child abandoned in the playground here. The mother dropped the kid off and ran off. They will be there in 5 minutes, if not sooner. You know, you got these people trying to take advantage of a situation. You got to land on them with both feet. Don't fall for this shit. Yep, that's it. Call the police. If someone has abandoned their child, I saw her leave. I don't know who she is. I don't know where she went. Her kid is here, but you know the kid is here. She left the kid, and now the kid is all by itself in the playground. You need to come get this kid, and they would come and get the kid. No, she's not paying. She's just walking off, leaving her kid there for somebody else to be responsible for, who's not legally responsible for the child. See, so that's what I would tell her. That's how you put a stop to it. And you need to do it today before this happens again tomorrow. Question number 24. This is a male in the 18 to 21 age group. My girlfriend revealed a eggplant fantasy to me and I got upset. She's 20 and I'm 21 and we recently got back together after a year of being broken up. We're both juniors in college. Our relationship has been pretty good so far, but we haven't been able to see each other too much. I'm learning remotely and she's learning in person. About a week ago, we were sort of sexting and she asked me if I wanted to share her. I was kind of taken aback and responded with, no, I want us to be monogamous. She responded with something along the lines of, good, I don't want to be shared. Although I was kind of upset by it, I brushed it off and decided to forget about it. The following weekend, I went to go visit her on her campus. During eggplant, she brought it up again, asking me if I wanted to share her with my friends. At this point, I got very upset and immediately stopped everything and told her that I would never want to or be willing to do that. I didn't blow up on her or even get mad. I just calmly explained that if she really wanted to pursue that fantasy, we couldn't be together since it was something I would never want to do. She started crying and told me not to be mad, so I hugged and kissed her and told her that everything would be fine and I wasn't angry. She maintained that she would never mention it again, but it still bugs me that she mentioned it to begin with and then on top of that, brought it up for a second time when I already told her no. I feel very bad since this very well could be a fantasy she had, but I'm scared that this may be indicative of future infidelity or cheating. My girlfriend has a lot of abandonment issues since her dad cheated on her mom and almost left them when she was very young. She hates him for being unfaithful to her mother, so I'm hopeful that she isn't prone to the same behavior. I'm a very insecure guy, and I'm looking for a woman's perspective on this entire situation. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance. Your girlfriend, something wrong with her. That's not normal, especially when like you pointed out, she asked first, and you told her, no, I would never want to do that. I want to be monogamous. Okay, that is a very definitive, very clear answer that leaves no doubt about your position or what you're interested in doing. So she gonna turn around and ask you again while you in the middle of getting busy, like that's supposed to change your mind or something. See, I don't know. I, man, these people tonight got me scratching my head like, what in the world? I guess that this really is what the fuck, because that's exactly what I'm thinking. I don't understand where this is coming from when you already told her no, that you have no interest in this. Um, I'm going to say this, it's putting you in a very awkward position where you don't know where she's coming from. So you two need to really sit down and talk this out. Say, look, I told you before that I'm not interested in that. I want to know why you brought it up again when after I told you no the first time. What was going through your mind that made you think that was a good idea? I'm really curious. And then let her tell you. She might not know the answer. But then just when you drop the bomb and say, this is how this is going to go. A relationship that I'm in is just going to be the two of us. Okay, so if that's not something that you're interested in, you want to do some freak shit like that, you're gonna have to do it without me, and we're gonna be breaking up like right now. Okay, and just lay that out there. She wants to have a different kind of relationship, but she has different kind of interest in them than what you have. I mean, but the part that's really bothering me the most is that you said no and you gave very clear reasons why that was the case. And it's like she didn't care. She didn't listen. She was going to talk about it again. That shows it's on her mind. I done told y'all 55 million times. It's like people don't talk about stuff unless they're thinking about it. Words don't just appear out of the thin air. They come from thoughts. So that's something she's fantasizing about that with your friends. So I'm not, if I were a dude and my girl did some shit like that, I would break up with her. That would be me. I'm like, well, you want to go fuck all them motherfuckers, have at it, but you're not gonna be dealing with me. And then I would break up because I can see that our values and our morals are completely different. I have no interest in that kind of stuff. And so, like, a man who kept asking me something when I already told you no, I'm not gonna keep saying no. I'm gonna tell you no. I'm gonna tell you no the second time, but when I have to do it the second time, that's it. It's over, because there's not gonna be a third. Okay. All right. Is this the last letter? This looks long. Question number 25. The female in the 30 to 36 age group out of Washington, D.C. Hello, Deb and the squad. I'm looking for advice. I've been with my boyfriend for 11 years. He's now 32 and I'm 29. About 3 years into our relationship, I found out he did, oh, Coke every time we were drinking. Eventually, we broke up over it, and he continued to hide it. We got back together 8 months later, which was about 5 years ago now. Over the years, he's continued to lie to me about drugs, mostly by omission. But there have been times where I've asked him if he's done it, and he straight up said no when he has. He's definitely decreased his usage, but we also don't go out and party and drink like we did when we were younger. But all his friends still do it pretty much every time they drink. Last year, I found out he hid it from me again, so we had another blow up, followed by what I thought was a very good conversation. I explained I'm not okay with recreational drug use and that if he wants to continue in this lifestyle, then let me know and we can break up and move forward. He told me he didn't want to break up and he would change for the millionth time. I told him honestly that was the most important thing to me, and if he makes a mistake and does choose to do drugs, please just be honest, let me know, we can move forward. But if I found that he lied to me, I'll leave because I can't take the lies anymore. He promised he would. Back in October, he did, but he told me. There was no big fight. We talked and moved forward. But the other night, he lied again by omission. When I confronted him, he admitted to it, but he wouldn't have told me if I didn't ask. He also gets really pissy when I do ask about it anytime he's not actually doing it. I understand it's recreational, but I'm just really not down. I don't trust him anymore. I'm paranoid when he goes out and what he's getting into with his friends. I can't stand being lied to about this crap anymore, and it seems like despite a million conversations about it and being better and not lying, but he continues to do it. I'm worried about our future. I do not want a husband or father for my future child that does coke even recreationally. I don't want to be at home with a 6-month-old baby wondering what he's out doing and be lied to anymore because he's, out doing that. Okay, this is the part that's driving me crazy about you. So you are one of those women who says, "This is my bottom line. If you do this, we're through." But then he does it again. I mean, you even broke up with him over it and then got back together, and he's still doing the same thing. This is why I say never go back to men. If you break up with them and it just for good reason, you never go back because they're still the same. They haven't changed. They just gotten older. Okay, they don't change. So and then you thinking about having babies and stuff. You don't have babies by people who use street drugs. You don't do that. They have all kind of problems, that they're not really understanding how it affects their DNA and genes and stuff. Okay, but your kid is going to be all fucked up with a addicted daddy. I'm really not understanding. Like, you act like this is the only man in the world. You've been with him for 11 years. I don't, and it's 11 years of drama with someone you admit yourself that you can't trust. Who lies to you, um, who's a druggie. You're paranoid about what he does. I mean, where's the good part in this relationship that you're hanging on to so tightly? You should have been let this go. This is pulling you down. And I'm really like, when I'm looking and when I'm reading stuff like this, I don't see where it's bringing you any benefit. What is it bringing to your life to be in this relationship with this particular individual? This relationship right here is a waste of your time. It's a waste of your energy. It's a waste of your feminine joy. It's a waste of everything. You're sitting there fretting about what he's doing, who he's doing it with. And then not only that, what about all the money he's spending on all this stuff? That should be money that you guys should be investing in buying a house or something. Instead, he's putting it up his nose. No, see, I can't. I can't do this kind of stuff. And I strongly suggest, you're getting older now. You're in your 30s now. And it's time for you to make a change in your life. You've already wasted more than a decade with this guy. Stop now. Drop him off and be free of him. Move on and find someone else, please. Okay? Because this is not what you want. And you know what's really dangerous too, when people have these kind of substances around children, if they get high, right, they get casual, and they get what am I trying to say? They get careless. That's the word I'm trying to find. They get careless, and the little kids end up overdosing, and sometimes they die. Have brain seizures. They have all kind of problems. The brain, they stop breathing. They have brain damage. All kinds of horrible things happen to little kids in homes where street drugs are used regularly. So you're also, you're talking about you want to have a family and stuff. If you would be putting your child's life at risk, or their minds and body and everything. Is it all the way around? This is a bad situation. I cannot recommend that you stay in it. I'm glad you wrote, but I'm asking you to please take a hardcore look at this situation and figure out how to move on from it. Dump this dude like you did before. You stayed free from him for 8 months. You need to make that 8 years. You can find someone else. You can get married. You can have all the things that you want. All the dreams that you have in your mind are going to come true, but they're just not going to come true with him. Okay? And once you accept that and move on from this guy, you'll be all right. All right. So you guys, thank you for coming to What the Fuck Tuesday. I like a loyal crowd here. Thanks, Shay. And all the all these regulars they here, like, man, they're here more than me. But I do want to remind you to come through on Friday. Now we're doing 2 advice shows a week until we start DNN. So Friday night at 6 o'clock, be right back here. If you have a question that you want to submit to the column, look in the show description down below. Click that link where it says Get Advice and send in your question. And we'll look at it and see if it makes the cut to be in the advice next in one of these upcoming columns. Since we're doing 2 a week, that means we need 40, 50 letters for every week. So if you send one in, it's very likely to get included. So thanks, you guys. I'll see you real soon on Friday, okay? Bye-bye.